Is 2:01, and so we will open the public hearing meeting for the director's presence for Dr. Barksdale, Dr. Adriana Roca Garcia, myself, John Fisher, Ms. Heisel, Mr. Bruce, and Ms. Miller. And so, do we have any public comments?
No, sir, we do not.
Okay. So we'll go to agenda item C, public hearing, presentation by the Chief Appraiser and district staff members summarizing the proposed 2026 operating budget.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Board members, just to kind of recap what we've discussed in a previous meeting. The proposed 2026 budget for Bear Appraisal District is at $29,743,744, which represents a little over a 5.5% increase from 2025. Aside from the normal increases, the main highlights that we're looking at are 8 new positions, 6 clerical and 2 appraisal positions. To date, we have heard back from a few taxing units, just that they had already approved the budget on their end. But aside from that, we have heard no other comments from them.
Do you need all of them to get back to you?
No, ma'am. They just have 30 days to contest, disapprove, and we have only heard positive responses.
Any additional comments? So we have a motion to adjourn the public hearing portion.
So.
Second motion.
We have a first and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we are adjourned. 2:03. So the regularly scheduled board meeting. It is 2:03. We'll call the regularly scheduled board meeting to order. Once again, Director President, Mr. Barksdale or Dr. Barksdale, Dr. Garcia, myself, John Fisher, Erica Heisel, Mr. Bruce, and Ms. Miller. Jimmy, any public comments?
Yes, sir.
Next item is the approval of the minutes from July 8th, 2025. So we'll give you a few minutes to review those minutes.
Okay, move to approve the minutes of July 8th. Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor of approving the minutes of July 8th as written, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes are approved. Item D, the 2026 operating budget.
Yes, sir, Mr. Fisher. Just to reiterate again, we are asking for the board to formally adopt our 2026 budget. And I do want to apologize, I misspoke. It is an actual, the accurate amount is $29,743,477. Prior in the public hearing, I had transposed the 7 and the 4. So the correct number is $29,743,477. And once again, that represents a 5.56% increase from 2025.
We know what that is for taxpayer account. By any chance? I've always just been curious about that. It was $1 or something.
Yes, yes. I have it right here, sir. For partial, we are looking at $41.09 a part. An account. Which, to your point, Mr. Bruce, or to your question, is the lowest amongst our contemporaries, Harris.
Yes, that's why I wanted
Yes,
to
sir.
know, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Very good, glad we still are.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the resolution for the 2026 operating budget.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Discussion. Resolution carries. Item number E, 2026 appointment nominations.
Yes, sir, Mr. Pitcher. At this time, I'd like to inform the board that two of our board members' terms will expire in December. We have already mailed out to the taxing units the nomination letters as required by the tax code. They have until October 15th to submit a resolution with the nominations. At which time I will compile a ballot with those nominations and send those out by October 30th. The resolutions with the votes will be due before December 15th, and then at which time, by the end of December the 31st, we will announce the results of the two winners.
So the date, I say it again.
The last one, sir, is December 31st when we announce the results. And a copy of the nomination letter is in the back for your review.
What are the two taxing units this time?
The two members would be Dr. Roger Garcia and Dr. Barksdale, the county representative and the city San Antonio representative.
Or is there more than one person nominated?
It's up to the taxing units as far as who they want to nominate. But yes, sir, it is all based on their voting count.
So they could do unanimous consent. Awesome.
Any other comments?
No, sir, that was just information only.
Executive session? We
We have nothing for executive session.
So we can go on to financial condition. Kristen.
Yes, we turn to tab one.
You skipped the chief of
Did I?
one, sir. I'm sorry.
Let's see.
Which category?
Chief appraiser's report.
Gee.
It's gonna be the financials first.
Yes,
Yes.
the chief appraiser report, then it's the financial report, which I'll read from tab one. And if you turn, I'm gonna read the funds investment report for June 2025. We have an operating account, a total deposit $16,399,976.06. Year-to-date interest earned is $154,777.28. We are over collateralized by $1,358,338.33. You turn to page 4. You'll see the totals revenues collected at the end of June 2025 is $21,357,126. You turn to page 7. You'll see at the end of June, we do have a surplus of $8,382,839. And if you turn to page 8, our designated cash funds, there are no changes. You have any questions?
Treasury records.
Okay. Since our last meeting, the big highlight is we have certified the appraisal rates and turned those over to the tax office. That is the highlight of July, the culmination of all the efforts put into the process season and July certification. We certified just under 95%, which is a milestone for us, which was pretty impressive, given that our protest volume was actually higher this year than last year. The composition was a little bit different, so it gave us a challenge in how we process those, but something I do want to highlight there is on page 2. You have a certain graph pie chart there and highlights. We had to produce this report a little early this year, so the numbers are actually less than they are what's presented right now. As of August 4th, the district had resolved 147,000 protests. That is up from the 2024 and 2023 numbers. This is a result of continued improvement in greater scheduling efficiency, faster docket turnover, and more effective coordination across all property types. So that was a big effort on our end this year. What does that do for us? That shortens the protest season. So right now we're looking about 30 to 35 more scheduled appraisal review board days, which ends our protest season towards the end of September, which is huge. Since the pandemic, we've been bleeding over into October, November, and even December. And so being able to wrap the protest season up early helps us transition into the next, the future appraisal role. And so that would be our next step going forward into September, is creating the 2026 layer and starting the process all over again. At our prior meetings, there had been discussions about what were the no-show protests by agents and property types. On the last page of the report, we have that data there for you. It gives you the total amount of agent no-show protests by year, in which you can see a marked increase in 2025 over the prior years. And then there is a breakdown by year and by department: commercial, business, personal property, and residential. As of today, those are the numbers. As far as the year-over-year change, why this year is more than last year, we don't really have any, we haven't researched those indications yet, but it's more than likely the composition of protests. We received much more agent protests this year, and as a result, we have less owner protests. But what we've noticed also is, out of the protests we received, people didn't realize their values had actually decreased year over year. So they protested, found out that the values actually decreased. And then with the property tax relief that's been passed through legislation, they kind of lose incentive and wonder why they protest. And so they end up either not showing or not caring and just moving on. So that could be a particular reason for the increase. Those are the numbers. I did a recap of other information out there. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
So we certified the role at how much?
At the percentage, ma'am, just under 95%.
So we had resolved as of August 4th, $133 billion.
$133 billion.
Are you required on the no-show accounts to continue showing them as having representation into the next year?
Yes, sir. If the appointment of agent that's on each record does not have a specific date when that designation terminates, it's assumed to be into perpetuity.
Would it matter or make a difference to you if the rule were changed, that they'd be dropped because of the no-show? If it doesn't matter, then leave it alone.
It's not necessarily a rule as it is a law.
Well, that's what I mean, the law.
Yeah. If the law were to change, then of course we'd follow it.
No, but does it matter to you whether they're dropped or not? Would it matter? Because it's a lot of work to change the law, but if it makes a difference in your life, your workload, how busy you are, for them not to, be coming back year after year after year and no showing.
And I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, because to me, the most important thing is that the property owner feel that they have their opportunity to protest.
Okay.
So if an agent files and they have if an agent files a protest and they did not show up, and the property owner gets wind of that and lets us know, I want to make sure that that property owner has an opportunity to speak to our staff to try to resolve that, because the work's going to be the work, let's be honest. But the most important thing for me is that anybody that legitimately wants to dispute or protest, contest, even just review their valuation, to have that opportunity. And at this time, I would like to thank my executive team, all my department directors, because it is a concerted effort to get certification. And like Tom says, we did a lot on our end to try to make our processes more efficiently. But after that, we can only do so much. That's where Mr. George and his team come in, the ARB. So at this time, I'd like to give Mr. George a lot of credit, because being a first-time chair, I understand the stress level that he did, because I was under the same stress last year as my first year as a chief. So thank you, Mr. George. And along those lines, the conduit between the ARB and the appraisal district is Mr. White. So it's a total team effort, and I don't speak to Mr. George a lot in person because I want to keep that separation. I don't want people to think that we're in cahoots. But at the same time, this is exactly the forum that I want to give him the proper due and the acknowledgement for him and his staff. Because again, once we hand that, the protest over, if we couldn't come to resolution, that's where he comes in. So thank you, sir.
So what did we notice? What was the notice value back in, was it January that we did? The notice
As a
value,
total is $325 billion. And so it would have been more appropriate to say that we certified $323 billion as of July 20th.
okay, 323 billion,
Out of the original, yeah.
okay. And then I noticed there were improvements in commercial. So you said, so how much of commercial, I know that's always a big budget line item for the litigation. How much would you say is commercial resolved? Is that the same 95%?
As of certification, commercial had resolved 99% of their protested value.
Oh, commercial had resolved 99%.
Yes, of their protested value.
So it's really just that 1% that causes all the litigation.
No.
No. Here's the thing, ma'am, commercial has in ballpark figures 40,000 accounts. And if I were to guess, if we were to look at historically, it's about the same 21 to 22,000 commercial accounts that are protested every year, the highest ones. And when typically, once we get to a resolution, unless they sign off informally, which, probably ends the formal process, whether it is a top line agreement, which means we agree to disagree, let's keep it going, or they go to the appraisal review board and get a board order, that's where the 60-day window starts the clock for litigation. So, litigation is going to continue, no matter what. We try to resolve as much as we can. I know Mr. Wise and his team do the best that we can, but again, it's just it's part of the process that, we can only do so much to get certification, and once we get there, then we start the window to see how many lawsuits we're gonna get. So it's an arduous process that takes a while.
Did the increase in no-show protests, what was the impact on operations for you all because of that, if any?
Yeah. On the front end, it's just processing. It's a lot of paperwork. We receive the protest, we have to process it, we have to schedule it. But in day-to-day operations, if one falls off, it doesn't
So
change much.
that spot fills up with somebody else.
Yes. Another side on the agent side. Some of the fee structure is where a property owner must pay an upfront fee, and if they don't pay that upfront fee, the agent then drops the protest, but he allows it to stay open in case the owner wants to go forward with the protest. So some of the drops from the agents could be that the property owners just didn't pay their fee, and so the agent just didn't go forward with the protest.
We just don't know.
We don't know what percentage, we wouldn't know that.
Of course, it's still the legal responsibility of the property owner to know what's going on.
That's correct.
You have a little catch-22 there. There's always that handful that fall in the crack and find themselves way beyond protest date. And they didn't mail me anything. I didn't know, and they find out that it was representation they've signed up for a couple of years ago.
That's correct.
And
And
they're stuck unless if you on appeal, you could allow them to have a protest if they appeal to you. Is that
Correct.
correct?
And again, that's why the approach that we take is to proactively go out there and educate the public about the opportunity to protest. I want them, and when people ask me, well, should I hire somebody? I said, that's a decision you have to make. But why not give us the opportunity to try to come to resolution first off before you make that decision to financially pay somebody to save you money on taxes? So if we can, resolve that ahead of time, and again, the majority of commercial accounts are represented by fiduciaries. We understand that. It's the homeowners are the ones that have a lot of confusion, and they say, well, I'll hire a professional to do
No,
it.
it's usually the residential work.
Yes, sir.
With all that said, this has been our most efficient season to date, and that helps out a lot.
That's applaud all of you all for the
Thank you.
that you put in this amazing
Thank you.
job, and you continually do. I feel more with less, or at least the stable status. So great job to the appraisal district as well as the ARB.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, but you say the number of protests was up, even though we mailed fewer notices.
Yes, sir.
That's interesting. Yeah, any comment on that, or is that just the way it is?
Well, getting back.
You see anything going on there that, of interest that?
It has to do with the composition of the protest. It transitioned to more agent protest than
Okay.
owner protest, and a lot of that is in particular to a couple of the big agents that advertise quite.
Yeah, they're hustling hard,
Yes.
I'm sure, I like that stuff.
It's illustrated on the second to the last graph, sir, where it's the gold and blue, where you can see that last year we had 65,600 owner protests. This year, that number dropped significantly to 51,000. On the flip side, last year we had 118,000 protested owners, agent protests, and that increased to 134,000. So yes, overall, we had an increase, but the increase came at the agent end.
Also, our reappraisal plan. Protested.
That's true, we have, probably
Policy.
want to check on that. What's in the year?
All right. Move on to district operations.
Okay, at this time, I am required by law to inform the board that this is to notify the board of directors that the Bear Appraisal District has complied with the required annual cybersecurity training under government code sections 2054.5191 and 2054.5192 for fiscal year 2025. Basically stated, anybody in our office that operates a computer has to go through mandatory cybersecurity training, and I'm happy to report that we have all done that, successfully completed that.
All 200.
Except for one, ma'am, part of our, Dora, she is one of our facilities coordinators. She does not have a computer, so she is not required by law to take that.
Done over computer room,
I'm sorry, sir.
computer process.
Yeah, she does not have one. Everybody that does operate a computer has to go through that. It's required. Yes, sir.
All right, we move to item H, additional reports, taxpayer liaison, Mr. White. Good afternoon, Mr. White.
Good afternoon, everyone. I waited until I got up here before I opened my mouth. I listened to everything that was said, and one of the issues, sir, that you brought up was about how does the homeowner, when they get an agent and the agent doesn't show. Well, sometimes when I pick up the phone, the homeowners will say, well, I didn't have, or I didn't assign that agent. Only to find out when you look at the form that they initially signed, they leave one portion out, which says the end date. So when I happen to look it up, I bring it to their attention and I say, well, what you would want to use is a revocation form. So I send them that revocation form where they do the correction, they put the closing date, or they just refuse to put an agent and they do the hearing themselves. So filling out forms of every sort is something that I usually help do with the homeowner or the agent sometimes. I do want to say that this here is not going to be a long drawn out report, but it is a report in and of itself. And that's all I have. Do you have any questions for me?
How many revocation forms have you done this year?
Ma'am, when you talk about the number that I've done, it does not even compare with the numbers that were told to you today. So I am not going to give a big number.
Under 100, over 100,
I'm going to say under 100.
under 100.
Yes.
But are you satisfied with those 1 or 2 homeowners that have really got fears coming down of what we're taking care of?
They're always taken care of, sir. This is what happens as a result.
Okay.
Once they come to us and they tell us this is what has transpired, what I do is I talk them through the process and then I let them know I will speak with the ARB chair. I let the ARB chair know exactly what the circumstance is. And then I get the blessing off of him whether or not to write up the paperwork, and he decides whether or not they're going to get another hearing in which he does do just that. So the tears are dried up.
Good. Because that's essentially what, out on the street, those are the things we hear about.
Mhm.
And this has nothing to do with anything you guys are doing wrong. It's those,
Correct,
the hustlers.
correct.
Okay. And then,
Thank you, Mr. Lynn.
Thank you.
All right, appraisal review board, George.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Oh, that's right. Long day. First of all, thank you, Mr. Seymour, for recognizing what we've done.
Yes, sir.
Much appreciated. I'll be real quick. The three things I got, numbers wise, we heard in the month of July, 7,700 hearings total. 875 of which ended up being non-jurisdiction and did not get any court orders. That's either because the AOAs weren't present or the agents, a lot of them were handled on the phone, the appraiser, and then the homeowner was able to work it out or some other reason. And you were talking about rehearings or individuals that had asked for or had agents on their records but didn't want them. I know in the last 3 weeks, I've either reopened or rescheduled 64 for another hearing because they had agents they did not want or spoke on their behalf that they did not want. I was debating whether or not to even mention it, but since it came up, it's good. The only other thing to follow up on is last month I mentioned the ARB forum. We were going to do a forum in October. It's currently scheduled for the 10th of October. We've invited 35 counties and other ARBs, 35 other ARBs, and we're just now getting responses back. And at this point, that's all I've got. Unless you have anything for me. I like these type of questions. I'm sorry.
I've got good feedback on you guys.
Thank you.
Lots of compliments.
Well, that does it. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I just had a quick question. We don't have a communications report this month?
Um,
No, not this month. We did not have any events, so I'll give you the July and August statistics in September.
Oh, okay.
If we have a motion,
there.
we have a second, all in favor, all opposed? Meeting adjourned.